Hello and welcome to Kismet Rising. So a very, very happy new year to all of you. Welcome to 2025. May it be a year of well-being, great health, prosperity, love, bliss, happiness, and overflowing joy. And may you all be protected in the year of 2025. And so we have the first Oracle card guidance for the month of January 2025. And we have the Crystal Mandala Oracle Saltwater reading cards and the Sacred Path cards. Please go ahead and choose your options. Crystal Mandala Oracle is option 1. Saltwater reading cards is option 2. And the Sacred Path cards are option number 3. Okay, and you can go directly to your reading. And for those of you who've chosen the option number 1, we're asking, what is our Oracle card guidance for the month of January 2025? All right, so for those of you who've chosen the first option, which is the Crystal Mandala Oracle, for the month of January, we're asking, what is our Oracle card guidance? And the cards that have come up are the number 23, Ascended Master Jesus and Rosophia, number 36, Ascended Master Mataji and Crimson Cupright, and then we have the number 5, Angel Ehel and Labradorite, and we have the number 41, Goddess Ishtar and Astrophyllite. So I'm going to go ahead and read from Alana Fairchild's book here, which is for the number 23. And I'm going to just read what the blessing is for that card. And then I'm going to go ahead and give you my own interpretation of it. Okay, so it reads, the card number 3, Ascended Master Jesus Christ and Rosophia, is the card of meaningful sacrifice. And it reads, we bring to you the blessing of meaningful sacrifice. To manifest your divine destiny, there are times when want must give way to greater need. It may feel as though you are being denied the very thing that you yearn for the most. However, when meaningful sacrifice is being asked of you, there is a far more generous and loving reality at play. What is being denied now will ultimately create the opportunity for far greater gain. This doesn't necessarily resolve the pain of unfulfilled desire in this moment, but it does soothe your soul with the understanding that if you feel denied, it is only so that your fulfillment can come about in a more extraordinary and generous expression in due course. Okay, so that is the blessing, and that is somewhat of an explanation for this card. And then there's a longer explanation and a healing process, which is offered as part of the experience of this deck of cards. But I just want to talk a little bit more briefly about this. So the suggestion is that in the first week of January, you are going to have to make a decision, which is going to be, or it's going to mean that you're going to postpone perhaps whatever it is that you were hoping for, and actually do what is needed of you. So for some of you, it may be that you are still you're wanting to still be on holiday, but you might have to go back to work, or the opposite way around. You are still in working. I mean, you are still on holiday, but you're actually yearning to go back to work and begin your year and begin a whole new era of your life. And for others, it will represent in many different ways. And I think what is important here, and I think this is somehow, it's very much the card for the year in a way for 2025, is meaningful sacrifice, in that you will need to be doing things that are required in the moment. And whatever you desire, whatever dreams you have, whatever it is that you want, you're still on the path towards it. It's just that it's not going to happen right now. It will take some time for you to be able to get there. And that does not mean that you won't have what it is that you're looking for, what it is that you desire, but rather that there are more urgent things at this moment that need to be taken care of and dealt. And it just means that you can't be necessarily exactly where you want to be at right now. So I think that it is coming though, and I feel that as well. I feel like you will have what it is that you desire, but there are some things that need to happen before that. And so that is your meaningful sacrifice that's there. I feel that it might also be that you for some of you, that you may need to be there for others more than you can be there for yourself at this moment. And it is required that you give of yourself to be there for others. And as you do so, you will find that it rewards you, and it gives you a feeling of peace and fulfillment in a way that you won't necessarily have had if you were just looking after yourself and your own needs. So sometimes just giving up yourself for a moment and being there for everyone else. Not that this is not to suggest that you should only do this and do this every day, but there are moments when it's good to step out of yourself and good to step out of the self-reflection or even the navel gazing, and just go and be there for others and integrate yourself as part of the world and the community, so that you can actually understand yourself better in the context of other people. And that might come in the form of charity work. It may be that you're helping people in a disaster zone or something to that effect. And at that moment, you are not thinking about your own goals and what's necessary for you. Okay, so then as we move into the second week of January, and this can, these energies here can also be throughout the month. It's not just for now. So as we go into the second week of January, we have the card Ascended Master Mataji and Crimson Cupright, Relief and Repair. And the blessing from Alana Fairchild's book reads, "We bring you the blessing of relief and repair. Our warm and nurturing will restore and rebalance your body, mind, and soul when the light of spirit burns too brightly. Spiritual light is like the light of the sun. It brings life and joy, but too much can burn. If that happens to you, you will feel overwhelmed, overheated, overexcited, or overstretched mentally, physically, or emotionally. We will help you recover and increase your ability to be exposed to spiritual light again in the future without becoming overloaded or burnt out. We ask you to soften and relax into our rich red energy now, which nurtures you with the cooling, restorative life force of the Mother Earth, or the Earth Mother. We shall help you naturally discharge excess energy, whilst we revive, strengthen, and fortify you with our nourishing grace." Right. So, in this context, the creator of this deck is talking very much about relief and repair after you've exhausted yourself spiritually, after you've exhausted yourself by being exposed to too much of healing or too much of being a conduit of healing and too much of the bright light. And, in that context, it makes a lot of sense, because what it is that we live in a world where there is quite a lot of darkness. And so if you're constantly doing healing work, and if you're constantly exposing yourself to the light and constantly trying to be the best version of yourself, you are going to struggle and subject yourself to a certain degree of fatigue, because you are fighting all the other forces that are trying to maintain a status quo. So you are going to be then be needing relief and repair. But not everybody is doing that, and not everyone has that experience. And so I just want to read this card in the context that it is for the majority of people. And once again, I didn't mention this here, but Rosafia and Crimson Cupright, these are the gems that actually I never heard of Rosafia before. But okay, so these are the gems that are going to help you at this time. So if you have these gemstones, if you can work with them, and they will support you during this week. And so for the second week, it is Crimson Cupright. And so we have the Ascended Master Mataji here, and relief and repair. And it's very much about trying to it's very much about affording yourself the time to care for yourself. So this first week you are giving of yourself, and the second week you are receiving the care and the care that you need, and what you need to replenish yourself, what you need to restore yourself, and how it is that you need to look after yourself. So it might be that some of you come back from a Christmas break and holidays, and it's time for you to look after yourself, to restore yourself, to go inward, and to take time out to look after your body, to look after your mind, to journal, to stretch, to keep yourself warm and cozy, and just have those down days. I think the second week of January is very much going to be about that. I think that as a healer, I do note that this is so regularly needed in my life, because of when I do healing work, it's so kind of extraordinary in a way that it exhausts me as well after a time. Not during the time that I'm doing the healing work, but afterwards, like a day or two later, I can feel a bit overwhelmed by everything, and then need a chance to withdraw. And that's also some of the reasons that I stopped doing these readings on this channel as regularly as previously, because it took so much of me, and then I couldn't balance that really very well with the amount of work I was doing with others. And then there is the suggestion that you can do that effortlessly, and that you can, you're just taking light from God, right? And so you are able to distribute that easily. And yes, that ought to be true, but one does have one's daily life and routines and family, etc. And so that whole combination can become too much. So in the second week of January, you need a chance. It suggests here that you will need time to have relief and repair. And my suggestion to you would be to really withdraw yourself from everything that you can possibly do. Leave the responsibilities, if you are able to, in the hands of others, your co-workers, the other family members, and take care of yourself only, because you're going to need this rest and this time to recoup, so that you can continue on your next path, on the next path of your journey. And it feels very much here like in the second week of January, you're going to need this downtime so that you don't fall ill, and you're able to maintain your immune system, and you're able to just continue in the month of January with a lot more energy. All right. And then as we move into the third week of January, we have the angel Ial, and labradorite is the stone. So, and it's the number 5 with the crystal angels 444. And here the crystal angels, I don't know if you can read that, are 333, both of these cards. So the card is individuality, and Alana Fairchild's blessing, or her writing here, is we bring you the gift of individuality. As you receive our gift, you will feel safe enough to enjoy the aspects of yourself that truly make you unique. From particular interests to your way of expressing yourself, to what excites and inspires your spirit. Your individuality is the way the divine wishes to manifest itself through you this lifetime. The key to your divine life purpose is to know who you are and to love and accept that self, so that you allow natural development and expression in the world to take place. As you accept your individuality, you will understand how natural it is for you to fulfill your life purpose and divine destiny. You will instinctively gravitate towards people, places, and energies that support you in being your bright, true spirit. You will grow and express yourself more freely and authentically, and the divine light within shall shine brighter without a veil of fear, confusion, or shame obscuring it. You have no need to compare yourself to any other. You are a unique child of the universe with your own special path and destiny to fulfill. All right. And so I feel that for many of you, for everyone actually, for not just for you, but also for you, specifically for you, this is when your year starts. This is when this card of individuality is when you are actually able to give yourself what you need for your year to begin, and you're able to step into that part of yourself where you are receiving the messages from the divine, and you're able to actually enact your life as you need to, and labradorite will help you with that as well. It's very much a time for you to be able to feel inward about and express yourself as you are. And the card says that you will attract people who are like you, or will serve that purpose of yours and your soul purpose at this moment. But I think that you will find that you feel that you don't want to be around certain people anymore, or at this moment anyway, because you just need to be in a different space, and you need support to be in that different space. And if those people are not actually supporting you because they have different mindsets or different politics or different understanding of the world, a different scope of understanding, then I think that you will need to just withdraw and understand yourself more and more. And I think this is also the third week of January is really going to be a time where you can express yourself creatively, and you can go within yourself, and you can go outside of yourself, and just really paint and draw and do some crafts and sew and knit and cook and do things that express who you are. And even if you aren't the type of person who's really interested in doing any of those things, perhaps you want to repair something, or do some mechanical thing, or do something that requires some kind of engineering, but it will all be an expression of yourself, and it doesn't mean that you are being part of something that is not meant for you. You will feel more drawn right now in this third week of January than you have been for a while to be more of yourself. And you won't only feel that, but you'll have the energy also to be able to put that forth. All right. And then we have the number 41, which is the goddess Ishtar and Astrophyllite. And the card is daring rebirth. So you can see how all of this would have led to the daring rebirth that you have, because you were able to express yourself and understand who you are here. And you've had the relief and the repair to be able to firstly do this in the first place. And you've given of yourself in the past, which leads you to that space where you can, guilt-free, look after yourself and take care of your inner needs and listen to your soul purpose and come forth with that. And so let's read what the author of this deck has to say about this card. Okay, so the card again is called Daring Rebirth, and it says, "We bring you the empowerment of daring rebirth. The bold spirit in you claims the divine defiance of the phoenix. It refuses defeat at every turn. No matter who or what may seek to overpower your spirit, your peace, your loving heart, and your wild optimism, you shall triumph in a divine and daring rebirth. Do not limit yourself with expectations, whether from another or your own mind. There's so much possible for you, a radically different and new you to become. Believe, and so it shall be." Okay. And I think it really is like a full circle here, right? You go through quite a lot in January. It's like you come from having not thought about yourself at all, and having given a lot of yourself, and then needing the relief and repair, and then understanding, coming out of it. Like sometimes if you've been very sick and you come out of it, you have like a rebirth, and a new energy around you and a new beginning, and then you just want to do things again. You feel inspired again, you feel fresh, and you want to take on the world, and you have that here. And then you do have that daring rebirth where you're not anymore thinking about others necessarily and what they expect from you. It might be that some of you are forced into the circumstances where you will feel like you are forced to take on a new aspect of yourself because of the environment and the influences that will be in your environment, or what's happening around you, in terms of the world around you, in terms of certain things that have been undertaken politically or environmentally. It could just be that you're forced to be able to find the courage and the bravery inside of you to be able to face what is coming. And by no means am I trying to instill fear into you at all, but I feel that as you come to the end of January, I also feel that there'll be quite a big thing that will pass under us all, and I think that it will require us to daringly rebirth ourselves in the face of what is. And this is not a bad thing. This is a wonderful thing, because you are able to understand yourself and have the power that you have, that you need actually at this point, to be able to move forth with what is in this world and how things are unfolding. Now, I think here it's also, the goddess Ishtar is a very powerful goddess, and all these masters and goddesses, etc., and the angels all have their own power in their own right. But if you think of the goddess Ishtar, and she was a ruler, and she understood birth and rebirth, and she understood reproduction as well in that sense. But she was also the goddess of war, and she understood where it was necessary for her to defend herself, to be able to protect the fertility of those around her and herself. And so that is the energy with which you'll be moving into February with. And I think that January is going to be quite a diabolical month here in the best way possible, because you are going to be able to understand so much more about yourself and the strength that you have, and you're going to be able to push forth, push beyond your boundaries, beyond your comfort zone, to be able to understand yourself a lot better, and to be able to move forth in your goals and who you are, and to be able to live your soul purpose. And I wish that for you for the month of January as well. So many, many blessings, and Happy New Year once again. May you have a brilliant year ahead, and good luck with everything else, and abundant blessings to you all. And for those of you who've chosen the second option, which are the Saltwater Reading Cards by Laura Bowen, we're asking, what is our monthly oracle card guidance for January 2025? first, for those of you chosen the option number 2, I first want to say a very happy new year to all of you and welcome to 2025. Many blessings to you all. And we have the first card for you for January 2025, the card being Pelican, and it's the number 20. And it reads here, self-sacrifice. And I wanted to just go into the book that was provided by the author and read something from there for you. It says, Pelican's sacrifice. The pelican warns us about taking on more than we can handle and of overcommitting or trying to please everyone. Their association with sacrifice comes from the way they clean themselves with their massive bills striking on their chest and sometimes piercing it and causing it to bleed. This action reminds us not to sacrifice ourselves or blame ourselves when we fail to live up to our own expectations and to avoid punishing ourselves for others' incompetency. The pelican asks us to look carefully at what is important to us and to steer away from sacrificing our own needs in order to take care of others. The pelican also indicates a great ability to learn, take in, and deal with a large amount of information or feelings. They can really hold a lot within that bill, and it reminds us to gather and hold what we have and what we value close to us. You have many things you do well, and you need to stop stepping down and allowing others to take the credit for what you do. You are important and worthy. The pelican reminds us that we can take what we cherish and carry it with us in our hearts if we need to. The pelican reminds us to know our own value, to not allow others' needs to come above our own unless we honestly are willing to make that sacrifice for the right reasons and to be honest about what those reasons are and why making the sacrifice is important to us. So yes, we have the pelican and we have self-sacrifice, and the author's message is very much about knowing when it is correct to make the sacrifice, but really to take care of ourselves and not to hurt ourselves as we take care of others, to ensure that our needs are being met and to look after what our own needs are, to make that sacrifice for ourselves rather than for others. And for the option number 1, the card of self-sacrifice came up as well, but it had quite a different meaning in that context. And so we have this card of the pelican, which I feel like it asks you to move with grace, and it asks you to be aware of what your needs are and allow yourself to look after yourself. Give yourself the opportunity to look after yourself and not to run helter-skelter looking after everything else and everyone else, but really to be selfish in a way and look after yourself, especially for those of you who are mothers out there naturally you do everything for your kids and you want to do everything for them, and then you can very much find yourself in a space where you have very little time for yourselves while having to care for everyone else. And so I think here it's really about being more graceful in the way that you live through your time and the way in which you handle yourself, and not to overwhelm yourself with what's happening around you, but really to be very still inside of yourself and look after you. And that is what's required in the first week of January. For those of you who have already made plans to be with other people and you have already committed yourself, you still need, within that context, to be able to find time for yourself, to be able to hold within yourself what is necessary for you, as was mentioned in this book. If I can just find that quickly. It says, and hold what we have and what we value close to us. And I think, take what you have with you and carry it with us in our hearts if we need to. So it says the pelican reminds us that we can take what we cherish, carry it with us in our hearts if we need to. So I think that it's necessary to take what is important for you and carry it with you, so that you're not feeling when you are committed elsewhere and to other things, or to work, or to people, or to family, or to your kids, or your boyfriend, your partner, your girlfriend, whoever. You're not feeling like you're leaving a part of yourself behind when you're doing that, and you are actually moving ahead, and and you have you with you. You're not being dragged off in a different direction away from yourself. And I think that is important here for this card, Pelican. And that's the card that represents the first week of January. And so if we go on to the second week of January, we have the card Seagull and the number 27. And the card reads opportunity here. And the author says that seagulls are probably one of the most recognized seabirds for anyone who spent time at the beach. She goes on to describe the seagulls. Okay, so it says seagulls are very most often seen in a group. Even when you happen to come across one on its own, it usually takes a few of its loud squawking calls before it's joined by its friends, and you have many seagulls squawking in unison. Seagulls are very opportunistic, always on the lookout for food, and not afraid to use annoying or repetitive behavior to get what they want. So this is obviously from a human's perspective. Seagulls are also associated with groups and peer pressure. Their presence is a loud reminder to not feel pressured, or to act or speak like those around you. The seagull's gift is to remind us that there is opportunity everywhere, and all you need to do is acknowledge the opportunities when they arise and act on them. You may be required to prove yourself or your abilities when the seagull calls. As a challenge, the seagull warns against allowing others to use you to get what they want. When the seagull comes forward, there will be many social occasions and gatherings where you will be offered many opportunities to network and get what you want. You are asked at this time to be mindful of how you speak about and act towards others. You are being encouraged to speak honestly, to look for opportunities when they arise, but most importantly, not to put others down to further yourself. Okay, so this card talks about using opportunity. Well, the author talks about using opportunity and gauging yourself within the context of opportunity to act with grace and to be polite. But I feel here that if I were to read this, it would be the pelican allowing itself to look after itself and to be able to bask in that for a week of the first week of January. And as you go into the second week of January, you have the option to have many opportunities, and you have the option to reach yourself into the world and to allow all these different options that are available to you to be juggled by you, and so you can sift them through for further opportunities. And I think it's for me, the card really, or in this context, it's really very much about understanding that you have all these opportunities, and you need to make a decision about what you're going to go into and how you're going to go ahead. Because what could happen is that you find yourself getting all excited about all these opportunities, and then before you act on one of them, it's gone. All right. And so that's my message for you for this week where we have the seagull. And of course, I've read to you the author's message as well, just so you have what you need from it. Then we have the third week of January. We have the card number 30, and it is the sea snake. And the card reads letting go. And I'm just going to skip over the bits where she talks about snakes. Okay, so the sea snake's message is one of letting go. It knows that sometimes this process is not easy. Even when we know we have to let something or someone go, we struggle with the decision and often twist ourselves in knots internally while we work through the process of moving forward. The sea snake challenges you to let go of everything that is holding you back or hindering your ability to live your life to the fullest. This process can be painful, and often we feel that if we just stay still and stop moving, we may be able to keep everything the way it is now. But doing this in the ocean would be slow death. You must move forward, and you must finally allow that which you've outgrown to be shed. All right. So for me, this card is very much about having to make a decision as you come into the middle of January, and having to take a decision to either go somewhere or to move into a different position at work, or to move somewhere because of your work, or to move out, or to move on from something. And in doing so, you are letting go of what is known to you, what is familiar to you, as well as to people that you may have good connections with and love for and care about. And so it's about being able to maneuver yourself in a way through that space without giving yourself a hard time or struggling through it, or just tying yourself up in knots, as the author has spoken about. So I think here there is a chance for you to understand what it is that you need as you come up to that time where you'll need to let go of, and understand why it is that you need to do that, and how it will be helpful for you in the future if you make that decision now. I think it's also important as you head through that time to be able to understand what the opportunities are that have come up here, and to be able to move and maneuver yourself around it gracefully. I think that you need to move like water in this month of January, that you allow yourself to flow through things without getting stuck somewhere or without getting caught up with something. You need to feel weightless and move through January in that way, that nothing is holding you too tight to anything, or to any commitment, or to any space. And so when the decision comes for you in the third week where you need to choose to do something, it'll be easier for you to do so. Because you're not too fixed on one particular person or one particular thing. So I think there seems to be some kind of letting go. For some of you, I think it would just mean that you're moving to a different place for a short while, or you're going somewhere, or you're needing to leave home. Maybe you need to go on a work trip, and it's hard for you to leave to do that at that point. For whatever reason, perhaps you're just not ready to do it. Perhaps it's something you just don't want to leave home because somebody is ill at home, and you want to be there to look after that person. Or perhaps it's come as a result of these opportunities here, and it means that you need to let go of a certain workspace that you're in. And you need to say goodbye to colleagues, etc. It could be something like that. All right. Then we have the final card here, which is a seahorse, and it's the number 28, and it's the card of family. All right. So it says here, the seahorse asks you to look at your family and celebrate your family's differences. There's so much richness to be found in exploring and celebrating your own unique family structure. Family dynamics are changing. There are now many blended families, or families where one parent will have to take the role of both nurturer and provider. The seahorse's message today is to encourage you to look outside the traditional nuclear family and acknowledge that extended families, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and friends all have a role to play within the family unit. Family celebrations, time spent with your kin, soul families, ancestral ties, cultural beliefs around family, and issues involving parents or children are all highlighted when the seahorse makes its appearance. So I really think that here it's about finding and understanding the value of your family. And as you come to the end of January, and as you move into February, it's going to be very much about that. It's about, I think it's not just about family. I think it's about understanding who's important to you and why they're important to you and why you value them and how you will choose to value them in the future. And those could be family members, but it could also be friends. I think it's important to understand and see the differences that you have with that person, as well as to respect and to give them the room and the freedom to be themselves, and to not be judgmental or critical or disapproving in any way towards those people, but rather to be loving and to be accepting and to leave the room open for them to be themselves. And just to understand that everyone's on their own soul journey and everyone's has their own imprint here in this world. And it may not always coincide with our own imprint, and sometimes we may clash with them. But regardless, they are on a spiritual journey, and we need to respect that and understand that it's sacred as well. So I think that is your reading for January of 2025. It's very much here about opportunities and things moving on, about valuing family, but also valuing yourself here, so that you can, in fact, allow yourself, have your cup full here, so that you can look after the rest of what's going to happen in the month of January 2025. So start the year looking after yourself and being there for yourself and not sacrificing yourself. And if you do so for a very, very good cause. All right. Not just for mundane things. All right. Anyway, I wish you all a very blessed January, and may you have a fantastic 2025 with all wonderful things in it. May you be safe, protected, happy, overflowing with joy and blessings, and may you be prosperous. Lots of love to you all. And for those of you who've chosen the option number 2 for the monthly Oracle card guidance for January 2025, we have the Sacred Path cards by Jamie Sams. Okay, for those of you who've chosen the option number 3, I want to wish you all, once again, a very happy new year. May 2025 be a brilliant year for you all. And in this monthly Oracle card guidance for January 2025, we have the Great Mystery, Thunder Beings, Giveaway Ceremony, and the Medicine Bowl. And it's very interesting because all 3 options today had very similar cards. Not all of the cards were very similar, but some of the cards were quite similar, which I find extraordinary, because usually the option number 1 and 2 is very similar, or not very similar, but has some similarities, and then the number 3 is completely different. And it's the first time in doing these readings for many years that the energy is very similar. So I feel like a lot of people will be experiencing a very similar thing taking place, which makes me think that there will be some kind of environmental influence upon us. And so we have the Great Mystery for the first week of January, and the card reads Original Source. And I think here it's important to be able to look into, to go beyond what you've been praying for and what you've been thinking about and where you gain your energy from, and what you gain your energy from, and to go within into that space where you find something beyond that. And you find the original source. You find the original source of energy, and you find the original source of yourself, actually, and to be able to acknowledge that, and to be able to understand that, and also to incorporate that into yourself, and to understand that it's one. I think that is actually really important at this time for you in the first week of January. So in order to summarize that, basically to go within yourself and to go deeper in yourself, so that you can come to that space of nothingness, and that space where there's just consciousness, but without memory, without an imprint. That very beginning of things that the Hindus talk about as the origin, or the start of the universe. And to be able to contemplate what that means, and understand the power that comes from that, and understand the nothingness of it all. So I'd just like to read from the book that accompanied this deck, and it says, and I just want to read the application. It goes into a lot of detail here about the great mystery, and it's really all about creation and what creation comes from. And but the application of it is that it reads, the great mystery card tells us the original source is the creator of all life, and that we are created in that likeness. We are free-willed co-creators who become the source of all we choose to experience in life. The buck stops here. We are totally responsible for all our joys and all our pain. In receiving this card, you are being reminded to give gratitude for all your lessons. It changes any pain to gain. Focus on your creative capacity, and you can change anything. It may be time to drop any blame, shame, or regret and take charge of your life. The victim role doesn't suit two-leggeds. We are created in the image of an infinite creator and are therefore limitless co-creators. In all cases, great mystery will continue to confound and astound us every time we try to figure it all out. Stop your mind's chatter and listen to the source. Original source shows us that the mystery lives within us and contains all the answers we need to find along the sacred path. The sacred path of beauty is experiencing the mystery of life without having to control the outcome from our tunnel visioned command post. Go with the flow and watch the glory of limitless co-creation. After all, great mystery is the divine plan, and everything is on schedule. All right, so I think here, basically, when we understand that we're all part of one, and we all belong to this nothingness and this space, I think we understand how irrelevant little things are, and we can remove ourselves from the petty. I think the message that comes from this book also is about not being a victim is extraordinarily relevant at this time in the age that we live in, since we are so consumed with victimhood, and we have stopped understanding our power and who we actually are, and how strong we are, and how we are all one organism. We are also deeply divided in these times, and we forget that we are all brothers and sisters and working in one organism toward one goal. And so I think that in the first week of January, this is the message that comes across, and it's actually, I feel it's very, very relevant for us all right now. And if we could just understand that and live with that, and as the book says, turn pain into gain by being grateful and acknowledging all that you have to be grateful for, we will, if we can do that, we'll come out of the cycle of suffering that we are in. and simply be above it all. We'll elevate ourselves from it. And yeah. And so the great mystery, original source, I think that's what that card is about. Okay. So as we move into the second week of January, we have the number 36, we have thunder beings, and we have usable energy. And I think here, I think for me, what this card is talking about, and I'll read what the author says about it in a moment, but for me, what this card is talking about is to see what's actually happening around you and to observe what is going on, to see the winds of change and to see how the world is moving, how things are moving around you, what is actually happening around you, and to be able to use that to your advantage, to be able to move with that gracefully and to be able to defend yourself from it, but at the same time, use it to create good and to create wellness for those around you as well as yourself. And to be able to use what you have available to manifest what you want and what you desire. So not to divorce yourself from it, or not to be afraid of it, or not to run away from it, but to use that. If there is a thunderstorm, use the power of that energy that's in the sky and be a conduit and transform it into something that is powerful for yourself and for others, instead of fearing it and running away from it. But in any case, let me move from, I know that sounds very abstract and perhaps that's not the best example to use, but I'm sure some of you will get it. I'm sure most of you will get it. And I just want to go ahead here and read what the author says here for you. Just give me a moment. I'm just going to go ahead and read the application here. It reads, the Thunder Beings card is telling you that you are a catalyzer and may now command the usable energy at hand. You are being funded with the energy needed to complete any task you have in mind. If you've been trying without results or you just couldn't get enough steam going, this card signals relief. You can drop the frustration and get on with it. The energy is now yours. Call it to you and use it. Usable energy comes in many forms. See which kind of energy applies to your present situation and then command it. Your body is the lightning rod and will conduct all the energy you need. Shout your intention to the Sky Nation. The Thunder Beings remind you to replenish yourself equally to the amount of energy you expend. Oh, and I think that's really important, just to be able to keep the balance, right? So if you are taking on a lot of light energy, or you are taking on a lot of darkness because you are trying to heal or help people, then to be able to balance that by getting rid of it in a way that's obviously safe. Or to be able to absorb that light, but to be able to remove yourself from it and replenish yourself and restore yourself so that you can work again with it. And so it's important to keep that balance. If you are being shouted at work by one of your colleagues or your boss or something, you can't just come home with that energy. You need to be able to get rid of it. Otherwise, you're going to come home with that and you're going to, dissolve it. It's going to dissolve and spread in your family. So you need to rid yourself of that before you come home, and also to create your home as if it's a sacred space and not let the dirt in, not let the harm in from the outside, and just to leave it to the earth, leave it to the energy of the earth and give it up to that, and then come home to your sanctuary and understand that that space is for you and is for your well-being and your family's well-being and whoever you share that space with naturally. And so what the second week of January is telling you here is that there's going to be usable energy. There is going to be opportunity. There is going to be a chance for you to change things, to shift things, to move things around, to move something that's maybe negative into something positive, to be able to transmute. That is what the second week of January is going to be. So look out for opportunities to be able to do that, and remember to do that. Don't get caught up in the moment. Don't get emotional when something happens, if it's negative, that is, or positive. Don't get caught up in that. Think about how you can maneuver and transmute that energy into something even more wonderful that can be shared by all. So unfortunately, as I continued to do the reading for you, and I then noticed that data was full on the device that I was using to record this, and so the last bit of this has to be re-recorded. But I'm going to try and remember what I said, but if failing which, I will just channel what I said and read from the book. So for the third card, we have the giveaway ceremony, and we have the number 43, and we have release. And it feels to me here that from this great mystery, where you've understood your meaning with relevance to the nothingness of this world, as well as the God energy, or the God that's in all of us. So with that knowledge and the knowledge and the power that you're able to gain from the usable energy, you will have some kind of a need to release some of that, because it can be overpowering. It can be a lot to take in. It can be that as you take in and you work with a lot of light, a lot of power, that you have to release it in some way and let go of it. In the same way, if you've overcome with darkness, you need to be able to have a release for it. If you overcome with light, in the same way, when you're working as a healer or something like this, you need to be able to release it some way, or it could hurt you. And so this giveaway ceremony here, which comes up for you on the third week of January, feels very much like that. It's like letting the load off, or getting rid of the residual. It's about releasing what you no longer need in your life, as well as moving away from people or from situations that no longer support and that no longer support and align with your goals for your spiritual well-being. So let's see what the book has to say about it. And it's the number 43. So I'm just going to read what's in the book here. It says the giveaway card spells relief through release. Don't get stuck holding on to anything that no longer serves you. Associates, ideas, habits, and belongings may need to go at this time. Attachment to attitudes like needing to be needed or liked may no longer serve either. You are being asked to share what you can, give away something that can help someone else, or just let go. Don't hold on so tight. The natural flow of life is squelched when you insist on total control. In all cases, the giveaway card tells us to release any bond that makes us captives of our own creation. In doing so, we can spread our wings and fly. Remember that generosity is a talent and a virtue that comes from dropping the fear of scarcity and from trusting the great mystery. So it's time to get rid of things that we don't need. It's time to move away from everything that does not serve us. It's time to give to others what perhaps we no longer have the need for. But also, how are we stopping ourselves from actually reaching our own potential because of certain outdated ideas and mindsets that we may have ourselves, that may have once served us when we've needed it, but we may no longer have any use for. So, as a child or a young adult, you may have had certain experiences that make you make up your mind about certain things. But that doesn't necessarily mean, and it may have helped you then, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it continues to help you. So search through not just your things, but also your mind, the way you think about things, to see whether a certain particular mindset or a set of ideas or how you think about the world may be limiting you. And perhaps you may not need that way of thinking anymore. All right. I think the release, the giving away ceremony, it's like you've received your gift. You've received this power that's come through you with the usable energy. And now you're giving some of that away. And I think that if there is an opportunity for your community or people around you to benefit from what you're giving away, then that would actually work well in your favor. And then the last card we have is the number 31. It's Medicine Ball, and the card is healing. And I do think that healing is coming to you and will stay with you at the end of January and into February. And it's about looking into your what you have around you, looking at what you have in your home, looking at the herbs in your kitchen, looking at what are the tools that you have that can heal you. Are you able to look after yourself with what you have? Are you able to place value on things that can give you value back? For instance, placing value on certain trinkets that you may have. And how does that feed back to you in terms of the love that you need when you are in need? All right. So I apologize for all the background sounds here today. So we have the number 31. And I'm just going to go ahead and read the application. If you choose the Medicine Ball card today, healing is on the horizon. This can be spiritual, mental, emotional, or physical healing. Pay attention to the events in your life and acknowledge with gratitude the healings that manifest themselves. The steps towards wholeness are often marked with small healing releases and can often be overlooked. Become aware of shifts in attitude or a new sense of well-being, and you will understand the healing as it manifests. In this way, you are assisting your future beyond the void to heal you in the present. In all cases, the Medicine Ball speaks of good medicine. It is being offered. Your present task is to find it and use it to heal the self or to assist another. So we are always in a space where we are healing. Our bodies are healing itself in any given moment. And just in that way, our interactions with each other can be healing or cannot be healing. It depends on how we choose to operate with each other. We are one cell in a greater organism. And this organism that we have is having an autoimmune dysfunction, an autoimmune disease at this point. Because what's happening is that we are fighting each other. We live in a world of division. And we are hurting each other. But we don't realize we are hurting ourselves while we hurt another. So move beyond any feelings of division or prejudice or negativity. Accept others as they are and allow them to be who they are. And in that way, you are healing yourself and you are healing them. You are helping them heal. And I think here, as you heal yourself and as you see there is a space for you to heal and to get better and to help yourself, you are healing others in the same space. So as you work with yourself, you're healing others too. And I think that's really important. And as you go into February, you're going to have that with you. So see how it is that you can help yourself and help others as well. Because you have this usable energy, you've done the release, and you've had access to the great mystery or the original source. So you have what it takes to help others and to heal others and to be there in the best version of yourself so that others may benefit from what you have to offer as well. And you also have at your disposal all that you need, all the tools that you need to be able to activate that healing and to continue with that. And so that is the way I see it. So I think that is your reading for today. And I wish you all a very blessed 2025. May you have all that you desire, and may you be always in protection and in peace, joy, and prosperity, and good health, of course. And I wish you also a very good January. May it be all that you want it to be, and may you be safe and protected from anything that may be not worthy of you or not in alignment with your soul purpose. All the best to you all, and blessings bound from Kismet Rising.